The murder of Laci Peterson, a case that still haunts. It all began on December 24th, 2002. Laci Peterson, a 27-year-old woman who was 8 months pregnant, disappeared from her home in Modesto, California. What should have been a joyful holiday season turned into a nightmare as her family, friends, and an entire community searched for answers. Her husband, Scott Peterson, claimed that Laci had planned to take their dog for a walk that morning while he went fishing at the Berkeley Marina, nearly 90 miles away. But when he returned home, Laci was gone. Her family reported her missing that evening, launching one of the most high-profile missing persons cases in American history. As investigators began piecing together the events of that day, suspicion quickly turned toward Scott. His demeanor raised red flags. He appeared unemotional, detached, and, at times, evasive. Then, a shocking revelation changed everything. Just days after Laci's disappearance, a woman named Amber Fry came forward. She revealed that she had been in a romantic relationship with Scott, unaware that he was married. He had told her he was a widower, even before Laci had vanished. Detectives asked Amber to record her phone calls with Scott, hoping to gather evidence. The conversations were chilling. As search efforts intensified, Scott spoke to Amber as if he were mourning a wife who had already died. The deception was undeniable. Then, in April 2003, the worst fears were confirmed. The remains of Laci and her unborn son, Connor, were discovered in the San Francisco Bay, not far from where Scott had claimed to be fishing on the day she went missing. The condition of the bodies suggested a horrific crime, but the exact circumstances of Laci's death remained unclear. Scott Peterson was arrested on April 18, 2003. At the time of his arrest, he had dyed his hair, was carrying large sums of cash, multiple cell phones, and his brother's ID. Authorities believed he was preparing to flee. The trial began in 2004, captivating the nation. Prosecutors painted Scott as a man who wanted out of his marriage and saw Laci's pregnancy as an obstacle. The affair with Amber Fry, the recorded calls, and the proximity of Laci's body to Scott's fishing alibi all pointed to his guilt. In November 2004, the jury found Scott Peterson guilty of first-degree murder for Laci and second-degree murder for Connor. He was sentenced to death in 2005. For years, the case seemed closed. But in 2020, the California Supreme Court overturned Scott's death sentence, citing issues with jury selection. Then, in 2022, a judge ordered a new hearing to examine claims of juror misconduct. Scott's legal team argued that one juror had failed to disclose her personal experiences with domestic violence, which may have biased her against him. Now, in 2024, new legal battles continue. Some believe Scott Peterson was wrongfully convicted, arguing that there was no direct forensic evidence linking him to the crime. Others remain convinced of his guilt, pointing to his lies, his behavior, and the overwhelming circumstantial evidence. Detective Al Bueller, who worked on the case, put it bluntly, "Well, I guess it's possible he's innocent. But, there are still people who believe the earth is flat, too." More than 20 years after Laci's disappearance, the case continues to spark debate. Was Scott Peterson the cold-blooded killer the prosecution described? Or is there a possibility that the real murderer remains unknown? For now, Scott Peterson remains behind bars, waiting for his next chance to prove his innocence, or to face the weight of justice once again. Crime never sleeps, and neither do we. Subscribe for more shocking cases.